In the little teaser, I think you posted it on Instagram, you said, your life as a child actor, as a young actress, it was very structured.
Being a child performer, I had a completely structured childhood.
Did that help you at all with this, would you say?
For sure. I think that, I do really well with structure. I think what happens with being a young performer when you don't have the structure is when you kind of freak out, right? And so when it came to this, I thrived. They kind of asked me, they're like, so how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing amazing.
I'm used to
Like,
this.
I think they're like, geez. But it's funny because I'm married to a Marine veteran, and I
Mhm.
think like we have a lot of, there's a kind of a strange kinship there between high performing youth
Mhm.
and military. I think there's something very militaristic about having to hit your marks before you even know how to ride a bike.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I thrived in the environment. I watched previous seasons with like JoJo Siwa, and it didn't
Mhm.
surprise me that JoJo did a really great job because there's something to that I think feels very familiar to people who were, growing up in the business.
Absolutely, and I know this isn't technically your first time you've encountered some stern commanding officers because you played one in Cadet Kelly, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. Was that sort of like a full circle moment for you in some ways?
I literally was so proud of Fox for doing the mental load of putting me in the show, okay? Because like I can't be the one that's like, "Hey, let's reboot this. Let's do that." Like I'm done, okay? But when it came to Fox being like, "Wait a minute. She's Cadet Kelly, she's Kim Possible." They didn't even actually know that my husband was a Marine veteran when we did the interview. They were like, "Wow." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm glad you didn't know. Now I get to train." So
Yeah.
there was so much synergy happening that I was really excited to be a recruit.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, and you mentioned before, you're not the only former Disney star. Kyla Pratt, who voiced Penny Proud, is starring alongside you. And I know almost 20 years ago, there was that Kim Possible Proud Family crossover episode. Had you guys like kept in touch all these years, or was this like a little reunion once you went off for training?
Kyla and I had done a YouTube interview on my channel a couple years ago while it was COVID. So we didn't see each other in person. And
Mhm.
so this was like the first time that we saw each other since probably the Circle of Life video, honestly. And the Circle of Life video was a video Disney Channel did that's kind of iconic for the channel. And all the actors came in on one time. And she was a little kid, I was a
Yeah.
teenager, but it's just wild how that kind of connection doesn't go away. Kyla
Mhm.
has always presented herself as authentically as she really truly is. And so for me to be able to see her, lock eyes with her when we were on the boat, when we first kind of all came together, I immediately was like, I got somebody here.
Well, how would you say the whole experience changed you? Like, what did you learn from it?
We filmed this months and months and months ago. I
Mhm.
missed Mother's Day and I came back on Memorial Day. So it was one of those things where it felt like a year went
Mhm.
by between a couple weeks, and by the time I came home my kids were like, "Mom, you were gone so long." But it wasn't really that long. And so it goes to show you that when you're experiencing like high stress levels, just
Mhm.
how much that can affect when you come back home. So when I came home, I had some nightmares, but the production was really great about checking in with us. And they were like, "Hey, are you doing okay?" Like they had therapists call us every couple months.
Mhm.
And everybody was connecting as well. Like all the recruits, we had a text chain going and checking in and saying, "Hey, are you okay? Are you having..." So there was like a community of support, which when you think about people who are actually serving, they don't necessarily get that kind of support and they feel really alone. So I was very grateful to also be home with somebody who knew what I went through because my husband had similar training. And so he was like, "Hey, you good?" And I knew that we connected in a very different way when I came home.